I got to stop my mic. Hang on, I got to delete mine.
Good to go. Start now.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Wilder Podcast. And oh my, it's been some time. All right. Well, tonight I've got my good friend Dominic back online, but today we've got a little treat. We've got this guy called Jessy. He's been doing big things. Jessy, this is your spotlight. Give me a little bit of insight about yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure. Honestly, it's a real honor to even be on your podcast, bro. So straight out. But my name's Jessy. I have a background in real estate. I started to get into the fitness, so I'm doing a lot of just fitness stuff at home, and I do a bit of social media here and there. But yeah, so pretty much working with a few brands at the moment in the social media game. But I think the good thing about myself, I think in general, is the real estate background, and that's what's brought me to this where we are now. I've just brought a lot of expertise with me, and yeah, that's who I am in the real estate game, but also do social media on the side, bro.
So you talk about real estate. How do you think that's helped you with the skill set that's brought you into the social media world and the influence world?
There's for me, there's two things. There's the business part of things, and then there's the people part of things. Like in business, and one thing that I've learned in real estate is every business is not about the business, it's a people's business. And that was one skill set that I wanted to learn being in real estate, because you're with clients all day, day in, day out. I was able to build relationships just in real estate, and if just from being me, I think that's what the real thing is you're talking to someone like a person. Don't look at it as like a client or a customer or whatever it is. Like I always look at everything as I'm talking to an individual. And that was one thing that now I've started doing outside of work hours, because this is who I am. And that's what, when I come home, obviously I'm a family man, we've got kids and need to be the dad. But the person that I am is that same person that's in the environment of real estate. And that was one skill set that I wanted to use outside of work hours. And I thought to myself, why haven't I ever used these things?
Dude, I just want to go back to, you're a family man. You're basically working 3 jobs and combining it into one life. How do you go with time? How do you dedicate your time, and how do you make these 3 main keys in your life work?
I think everyone has the same amount of time in their day. Before, I was always just the 9 to 5 family man. And then obviously once family time is finished, I would just be kicking back on my phone doing nothing. In that, say, 3 to 4 hours, I came to a point where I realized, what am I doing in those hours? So I'm still able to have the family time. And I think that is my main priority. And I think any father or mother out there or any parent out there knows that's the truth. And then after the family time, when the kids go to sleep, I can't pretty much just be me on social media instead of hiding away. And that's was one thing that I did change, was stopped hiding away from everyone and just being out there and just meeting people and doing the things that I do on a daily basis in real estate. But why not do that in my personal life? And in the last 3 months, that's what I have been doing. And it's led to where we are literally right now, like taking it back. I'm just a normal bloke that works in real estate and does his 9 to 5. And to even just be here right now, you know what I mean? For me, it's like a trippy moment. It's like, wow, I can't believe this is actually happening. And listening to Dom on his podcasts literally a month and a half, 2 months ago. it's just like I was listening to those podcasts and thinking like, wow, it would be cool to be on one of those podcasts. And shout out to Dom. Yeah, like I listen to his content all the time, and it's literally inspiring. And I think it's these little 1%ers that have led to where I am today and where we are here today.
I wanna jump in on this, and Dom, I know you're a modest man. You're one of the most humbled people that I've ever met. Tell us how that feels listening to that feedback from Jessy.
Put me on the spot here, mate. Yeah, I guess it's a hard thing to. I still pinch myself as well, because I don't see myself as anything special. It's something that I actually need to work on. It's a self-love thing that I've done a little bit of reading on recently. And, there's a form of, you can almost be too humble and show too much humility that you therefore do not accept the positive energy or get the gift received from someone else. So it's actually selfish of me. It's a catch-22. It's a subconscious level of me being selfish, therefore not giving that person the ability to reinforce me and giving that love of their appreciation, gratitude for me. So I've always seen it as being humble, and got no ego, just like, yep, no worries, head down. I don't see myself above anyone else, but I lose that power. So I've actually been working on these things myself, and to be able to hear that, it still gives me goosebumps. I still have to pinch myself. I can't believe it, because it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to think, and I'm so grateful, man, that you've said that and that we've connected, and it's no coincidence, and that's the case. So again, mate, thank you so much. I do really, really appreciate that. The podcast itself was just something that I've been wanting to start for about 4 years, and then me and Jack started 2 years ago. I reached out to Jack's, and we've grown crazy amounts. And the growth, and what I'm loving now with the podcast, which I'm great you're coming back to yours, mate, is that people only just starting to see it now. And so they've got 100+ episodes of content that they're working their way through. And it's like, that's the whole thing. It's my legacy project, is what I always wanted to do. And like, I've no guru, no fucking qualifications for any of this shit. I just speak from my mind, teach my lessons, bring in guests that have got some kind of story to tell, because we all have life lessons and we all have a story and a journey. And it's just telling that and sharing that, because you never know what your little bit of message or your journey can use to inspire someone else. So the fact that that's what Jessy has received from just me sharing my story, and now him leveling up from me just making that conscious decision, has now had that ripple delayed effect, gratitude effect to everyone else. And I'm so excited to see what that happens. And here we are.
Here we are. Look, Jessy, I still haven't even introduced you properly. So give us your full title. What is your name? And then I want to talk about some of your projects. So introduce yourself a little bit to the people listening.
Yeah, so my name's Jessy Kongsawan, Thai background and Filipino background, from Melbourne, 28 years old, got a partner with 2 kids, both under the age of 5. But yeah, that's who I am. And what I do is I pretty much just do a lot of things now, and that's what's actually pretty crazy when you think about it. Is like last year, who was I last year? I was just a normal person that just done your 9 to 5, and to jump into this year, to now be able to work with brands, but even just to make relationships like we're having right now. Like for me, these chats that we're having is just amazing, because I was never in a position to sit down with people and just have chats. And I think that's something that I never had. So I do really appreciate you for jumping on here.
Can I just interject with that before we go? Because that was really cool. This is definitely how we should have started the convo, because we just sort of just jumped straight into it. You need to be able to tell a story as you're going through a podcast to educate the listeners. But we're all new to this. So, your 9 to 5, just to clarify, that was real estate, correct? That was the Yes. Okay. So that's actually quite a different job. Not everyone just jumps in real estate. It's quite, lucrative in a way. There's a lot of sales marketing. You got to go out and hustle, that slight entrepreneurial style form of, work ethic. So my question to you would be, what made you decide to want to do that? So, because that was out of high school pretty much, and then you went straight into that. Like, is that transition?
So I've always been doing basic jobs like laboring work, I then got into door-to-door sales because at the time there was just no work. So I started door-to-door sales. I then went from door-to-door sales into the corporate world. So I worked with a few large brands, a large company, sorry, in the corporate world. So I had been doing that for a few years. And then I got to a point where I wanted to take the next step into a sales role, which I was doing previously, but I wanted to take it to the next step. And a lot of my friends were in real estate already. They're all in the sales. And at the time, everyone was making big money. So I thought, why not? So I jumped into real estate a few years ago. Would have been around about 3 years ago. And I had my first job, just as an assistant for somebody. And then I wanted to take on my own role in real estate. And ever since I started real estate, I would say since I've been on my own now, it's been about that two and a half years. And in those 2.5 years I've really excelled in the industry. And this is coming from a guy who's fully covered from neck down. And in the industry, you don't get a lot of people with neck tattoos. And I can assure you, when we have our business conferences, there's no one with neck tattoos. So at that point, I had already knew that I was different. And what separated me from these people was the real person connection. It's the little things like that. And I can just have a normal chat with somebody that I don't know. And I think that's what's been my real estate and job background. So that's what's led me to now.
Yeah, so that's really good that you jumped into that, and that would make sense for a lot of things. But I know I'm sort of delving a little bit deeper here, but that fact that you did door-to-door sales and did some of that marketing stuff, that's really interesting, because that's pretty hard. Like, not everyone does. It's a hard yak of work, and you had some mates obviously in real estate. That's fantastic. So you knew some people that was making money. A lot of people know generally real estate agents tend to make money, but what, besides the money factor and all that, like, what skills did you learn through door-to-door sales and what you're doing in real estate that's really sort of given you the perspective to want to do more? Like, because you could just be a real estate agent who makes a lot of money. Like, where's the desire come from and the skills that have been learned that have made you want to do more?
I think I'm a very numbers guy person. And why do I say that? I think why is it leading me to more is once I hit a number or a target, just in my mind, even when I was in door to door, I always wanted to make sure I hit all my KPIs, all my targets. And then that led into, okay, I need bigger goals. I'm already smashing those goals. And I think that's what's led me to this point now. It's because at the start of the whole Instagram and all of that, when I was making videos on TikTok, at the start, it was more about numbers in my mind because of the real estate. That's why I thought I'll bring in the numbers game into TikTok. And that's what's just kept me going. Is at the start of when I done TikTok, it was all about the numbers. And that mindset was when I first started TikTok. And that when I got to that point, it was more about, okay, now that the numbers are there, like 5,000 followers. At that point, I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like 5,000 followers. How can I now start to give back to these people? Because all you got to remember that I'm just one guy, like I said, with a 9 to 5. So I really had that real connection with these people. So I was like, oh, wow, I'm actually talking to one person or two people or three people, where in reality, I don't really have that many friends. I have a handful of friends that are just my normal friends that I would call on the weekend. And it was never really about like the interests that we had. And then when I started talking to people that are like interested in like fitness, interested just in like normal things in life, like they might be parents, like that's when this whole journey now took off. It's because I was actually talking to people that I have an interest with. So that's what's got me to where I am now. But at the start, it was all about the numbers. That's what kept me motivated to transition from one position to another position, because I had already excelled at that other the previous position. I was like, I want more. And it was more about the numbers. It was never about the money. It was all about the numbers.
Dan, do you have more questions there, mate?
I do. So it's one thing that got my attention, bro, was when you were talking about, you know, the friends that you talked to on the weekend compared to the people that you made these connections with, which is going to bring me on to real, recognize real, or something. You know, I could have been wrong, but you've started this little project. I think it's real, recognize real, and I want you to explain a little bit about it, because I think a lot of the listeners here are going to jump on to what you're doing. And I know Jackson Tippett, you got him involved, you got Ryan involved, you got Dom's attention, you've definitely got my attention as well. Explain how all this connects and what you're doing with it.
Should I take it back from January?
Yeah, take it back.
I think if we go back, we will see why the journey. And I think this is something that for a lot of people, if they're listening in regards to TikTok, from the start of my TikTok account, obviously when you're creating content in general, one thing I've found is you're actually collecting data, which is then part of your journey. If you go through my videos from when I first started my videos, you will see literally exactly what I'm about to explain. And that's what's even more crazier. And that was part of the structure to what I was trying to do at that time. So when I did start in January, I deactivated Instagram to get away. I was like, I'm so caught up in this life where I'm just watching everyone and I'm just not doing anything with my own life. So I started the gym. I lost 10 kilos in 3 months. I then created a TikTok in April, the day my son was born, or that's what's crazy. I put up my first video on the day my son was born. That first video literally blew up to, I think it was half 500,000 views. At that point, I had already assumed to my head, I'm famous. And that's what was at the start. It was the ego. It was like, wow, can't believe I've done that.
Yes.
And then the account grew to like 10,000 followers. And at that point, I made a promise to myself that I'm going to be consistent from here. Like, let's just create content and be consistent. That was the main thing, is being consistent. And I think I had that same consistent mindset from when 3 months prior, when I was losing that 10 kilo weight. So it's all led to that point. And then at that point, I was like, wow, I'm famous on TikTok. I want to get my first brand partnership. Like, what is a brand partnership? I have no idea. And a partnership could mean like getting a shirt or something like that, whatever it is. And then obviously I reached out to companies, and this is now where the real estate background comes in, is where I was just like, it's a numbers game. Like, if I message 100 companies, one of them's by far about to say yes. But there was a different part of how I done that. It wasn't just copy and paste. It was like, I generally want to work with a brand that I want to work with. So I'm going to build a real relationship with these people. And that's just who I am. I wasn't just about the copy paste. Like, that's not what I'm wanting to do. And hence to why I jumped into social media. But I got my first partnership, and then I wanted to do a video shoot. So I was like, oh, like, we got some clothes, like, let's do a video shoot for that brand. So I knew someone on on Facebook, and I hit him up and I say, hey man, you want to make some videos with me? You keen to like just collaborate or something? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then once the video was done, I wanted to get a photo shoot done. So I met a guy at a barber shop and I hit him up, and he said he was a photographer. And I said, let's do some photos together. And then at that point, I was at 45,000 following in May. So I was just like in my head, I was like, wow, my account's growing. I'm doing photo shoots. Who do I think I am now? This is all happening within a 2-month span or 1 month span, sorry. And then I said to myself, I'm going to restart my Instagram. Like, Jessy, you're in real estate. The only people that really advertise their faces is people in real estate. Like you see on the buses, the professionalism in real estate, you see it in flyers. Like if you work in a laboring job, you're not going to go send a flyer and say, I'm working in a laboring job. But in real estate, that's normal. So I said to myself, I'm going to just restart my Instagram and just do professional content because I am a professional in what I do now, which is real estate. Like, why wouldn't I look at your social media as it's like something that is a part of you. It's like your wallet. You found me on social media, and everybody else that I talk to is on social media. So I just wanted to create a little bit more professionalism in my account. So I got my photographer and my videographer that I met literally first time for both of them. I said, let's just go produce some content, or let's just go take some photos, and then we'll just revamp the page. Are you keen on that project? Like for you, you get exposure for like taking the photos, and the videographer, like we're all just in this. Like this is just 3 mates just going to go and take us some photos. I took the photos, and then that night we're like, well, let's start a thing called the producing team. Like we just produce content together. Like let's just have some fun with it. And then that producing team then turned into, well, let's get some influencers in, like let's collaborate. Like all their content will be from the videographer and all their content will be from the photographer. So at that point we had a team of 7, and this has all happened within 2 weeks. We got some influencers in, we started collaborating on TikTok. My account went from May 45,000 to June to 65,000 in following. And I'm only bringing up the following just so you can understand. I think it was more of the mentality at this point. It's not about the following. It was more about, okay, I've actually got an actual supporters out there. They're commenting on my posts in the background. They're asking for collaborations. They're asking for tips on whatever it is. And I'm just going with it. So I then went for that, and then I collaborated in creating content, started then making real friendships and partnerships around about that July time. So what is it now? September, October. So July. I started getting into real relationships because at this point, my photos that we'd done 2-3 weeks ago are now starting to be uploaded. So my account has gone from just a basic account, selfies, to professional photo shoots that were done in the one day. I took a whole suitcase with me and we went into the city and just took some photos. I took photos with what I wear. I think that's the big thing. It's like my general clothes. I just grabbed whatever out of my closet, and I went to Kmart and I spent a couple $100 at Kmart. And at that point there, I just started making content, and then I wanted to make some more videos on my TikTok, and we got the professional photography done and videography done. And then by July, I was at 90,000 following, and I was so confident because I train at a gym. I want to give him a shout out, Dermot Gym, 24/7 gym. I train at Dermot Gym, and at the start of my TikTok journey, when I got that first video that went viral, I hit him up. I said, hey, I want to work with you. I want to be an ambassador for your brand. And I had messaged him, think about this, I had messaged him all the way from April till now, tagging him in every post. It was just, that was my goal. I want to be part of Dermot. I love Dermot. I go there every day. I love this company. I want to work with this company. I remember I made a video in July that I want to be part of the Dermot squad. And by the end of July, I was a part of Dermot. I became an ambassador after being rejected many times, phone calls with the social media team. And I was nearly about to give up, but I said, like, I train there anyways. I'm going to tag them in my posts anyways because I love them. And then I got a partnership with Dermot. And then by that stage, I had brands wanting to hit me up because of the high following on TikTok. And that was literally the post that everything that I just mentioned there is a post that went back to the end of July. And then I wrote on the bottom of it, what does August have in store for the producing team? And that was at the end of July. So now we're at August, September, now October, 2 months later. It's now led to Real Recognize Real. Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy journey, but when I met with Jackson, it was just a random follow, because I wanted to follow people that were in the fitness niche. This is at the point where I had a high following. I'm thinking I'm the fitness guru, where all I was doing was just sharing my journey with people, and that's what people love to see. I think personally, like, I love watching journeys. I love just being part of journeys. And that's why I work with so many brands, not because of the brand, like the person, it's the journey. I just want to be a part of their journey. And that falls back to the real estate business part of things, where it's just all about numbers and numbers and numbers. It's like that person that you're talking to is a person. And like, I want to be part of their vision. I want to be part of their brand. Like, if they're 5 key, like in every brand, they always have like a thing that they always trust in their company, or it's integrity, or it's like partnerships. I always read that stuff when they're on their website about me. And if I feel like that brand is actually generally like a genuine brand, where it's like, wow, they're genuine people, I want to be part of their success. I just want to be part. I just want to be in there with them and helping them out as much as I can. And hence the why I reached out to you.
Can I say, Jessy? I was going to say, when you sent me that message and you were like, I want to do this for you, I want you to see what I can do, it was truly humbling. I mean, you know, I don't always go through my requests, you know, in my messages on Instagram. I do a lot of my emails if people do message me and want to do like an ambassadorship or work with the brand. But I've got to say, one thing I do look for is a clean profile pic if I am looking at my requests. And there was you. And there was your message. And it was, let me show you what I can do. And as a brand, dude, there's nothing to lose on our end. Absolutely nothing. And then the communication that we've had since then has been next level. So you talk about you being in the real estate, you talk about Real Recognize Real. I 100% feel you there. And I feel like I've known you, and I've said this to Dom when me and Dom, you know, first connected. I feel like I've known you for, you know, more than just a few months. I feel like I've known you for a few years. I love where you're going with this and the potential with it. I've got a photo shoot happening with Dom next week, actually, that we're going to love to get your video work with. And I just want to say, man, just keep being you, just keep being real, keep doing what you do best, and that is connecting with people, which is what a lot of people not necessarily lack, but a lot of people don't really emphasize or don't really use from day to day. They forget about that connection that humans, you know, belong to. And I know a lot of the listeners will hear that and they'll recognize that. And I'm just excited for your journey. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Dom, but it's truly remarkable when people like us connect, and, you know, it's not just on a brand level, it's on a real personal level.
Yeah, I agree, bro. And I thought that's what's now led to Real Recognize Real with Jackson Tippett and Ryan, where I was just being me. But I think one thing I do want to actually say, and I think it's what's got us even to contact, is one simple thing that I learned of Jackson Tippett. Because I think I need to realize is I looked at Jackson as not just anyone, but he was like the Instagram god, if you want to put it in that perspective, where it's like, I'm listening to podcasts, he's doing the social media. I'm like, this guy is like, wow. So even just to have a normal message with him, I was like, wow, what the hell's going on? At the start, I was more like a fan. I was like, wow, like he actually followed me back, whatever it is. And I remember he'd done a voice message to me. And at that split second, I was like, do I send a voice message back, or do I just message like I always do? Like, I'm just always a message guy. But I was like, why don't, like, how disrespectful would that be if I didn't do a voice message back? So I done a voice message back. And I think that's what started the relationship between me and Jackson, is he was able to just hear the voice straight away, and just me being me, just over the phone, and him being him over the phone. And I think that's what built our relationship. And being on social media, I came through Ryan. We just bumped heads, and that was the exact same thing. Like, me and him sat on the phone the other day, and we we're like, bro, like, how did we meet, bro? Like, so I went back to his messages. Like I said, I'm gonna read. Like, we're on a video call. I'm like, I'm gonna go back and read all the messages. Literally, I want to know how we actually met. And at the start, it was me giving him emojis, and it's like, hey, bro, like, I love that, bro. And he would just like the comment, and I was like, bro, like, what's happening? Like, that's just me. And I think anyone that is in contact with me knows that that's just how I am. I just, whatever I'm thinking in my head, I'm just gonna say it. And I was just like, bro, like, what's happening? And then we just voice message. The same thing as what I learned from Jackson, is we just voice messaged, and then that led to us being real. And Ryan, on his account, he had real recognized real on his page. I had no idea what it was. I was just being me, and Jackson was just being him. We were just doing our own thing. We were just chatting. And then I remember Jackson gave me a call and said, mate, you're a real one. And I was like, bro, straight out, we are real ones. Like, we have real deep chats, just normal mates, just having a chat. He's like, Ryan and I are looking at doing this thing called Real Recognize Real. You want to be a part? And I was like, man, like, why wouldn't I? Like, if we're just going to be real, then why not? And then we're like, let's do it. And like, let's create an account, and let's just be real. And let's jump on live and just share our journey, guys. And I think, like, we're nervous. I was like, man, I've never done a live before. But it's like, just be real, man. Just be you. And
Sorry to cut you off, mate. I think, like, there's some valuable lessons in what you've done there, and just to sort of articulate it in a different way so people sort of can take something out of it. It's, if we're just like doing a slight synopsis of, you know, your past sort of 6 months of this year, etc. It's, you know, obviously wasting just of your life. If I was to sort of analyze everything that we've spoken about now and summarize it in a short form, it's like, okay, always wanted to be a driven, ambitious person looking to do and become better and more. So obviously we get into real estate, awesome, fantastic. That requires that element of hustle, going out, getting out there, building relationships, meeting people, you know, going out and actually working, not just like, yes, it's a quote unquote 9 to 5, but you need to work for your commissions, you need to work for sales, you've got to hustle. Awesome, fantastic. Then we stepped into the social media realms, and then your fitness aspect came into it, which is really good. So you've made a conscious decision that, well, I need to get in better shape. I need to work hard. I need to show discipline and get some results in that particular area. So you've made a conscious decision to go for one thing and then get a result from it. Very important. A lot of people don't do that in today's society. Or you got that, you just documented your journey. You did that through TikTok. All of a sudden, yep, right time, right place. There's an element of luck in there, but that, yes, element of luck, but you still applied yourself and went at it and kept making sure you got results. You got a hit with a video, fantastic, but you didn't just sit back and that's it. You kept going. You reached out. You realized then in that moment, okay, now I want to work on this more while still working 9 to 5. That's one thing that's really important to make sure we understand. We didn't stop what was paying the bills, but we built on the side what that side hustle can potentially be, not really knowing a full end result, but knowing that this is something I need to continue to search on. Then you clearly identified, okay, who are the people that I need to surround myself with? Who are the people that I need to learn from and who inspire me? Basically, learning from people who are doing what I want to do better than me is very important. So you identify those people through social media, i.e. like Jax, my podcast, you know, Dan, things like that, working with brands, because that's what you wanted to be able to do. And then that you've done that and you continue to apply yourself. And then now you look to the point of, like, because you have made a conscious decision of what it is you desire, who it is you want to be surrounded by. Your life has now started to put you into alignment with other people who are on the same mission. Everything is energy. Everything is vibrations. The energy and vibrations that you put out is what you will receive, but more importantly, subconsciously. So you can only change your subconscious over a period of time once you work through the conscious. So I just wanted to reiterate everything you're saying, because it's really important for people to just see what it is through the story that you've told, that this is the elements that have happened, and now you're just 10xing on it, because now you've been aligned with the right people who are going to provide you advice and help you along the way. And what you're doing right now may not be what you do in 12 months time, but it doesn't fucking matter, because you haven't sat on your haunches and just done your normal 9 to 5. You've learned your lessons. You're building more tools to the tool belt. So then as you continue to move through, you'll find your whatever it is you eventually finally do. But it's awesome. So I just wanted to just recap that. I hope you don't mind me doing that.
Yeah, that was a perfect recap, bro. I think I do go on a little bit, so hopefully I can get better at that, bro.
No stress, man. We all started somewhere with whatever it is.
Yeah, like it's just consistency. I don't know. It's just something in my mind. It came from the gym. It's like consistency. The videos on TikTok was just consistency. It's just like, man, it just feels good to be surrounded by people with positive mindsets.
Yeah, like-minded people, Jesse. I'd actually want to ask you, which Deramit's gym do you train at? Because I was Deramit's cryo back in 2015.
Traveled in Airport West for a little while too.
There you go. So we know Deramit's quite well. Tell us, which is your OG?
So my OG is Deramit, the original Deramit.
No.
Yeah.
I hope Deramit's is listening to this. There you go.
The original Deramit is my Deramit gym. But then if I am going to go create content, I'll usually go to Caroline Springs.
All right. Yeah, I know Caroline Springs well. What about you, Dom?
Yeah, did they go because they were closing down during the first? Are they back up and running again?
We're still in lockdown in general. They're closed, like, yeah.
Out of that Caroline Springs one, you're selling heaps of equipment last year.
Like that gym is like it's the huge gym. It's like, yeah, it's one of the best gyms I've been to.
Yeah, that's why I used to travel from Geelong up to Melbourne just to make Caroline Springs Deramit. And I had a few guys that train there. I used to love it. Not that I'm much of a trainer or anything like that. I've trained with Dom a few times and he can probably share some funny stories. But moving on.
Well, look, I just want to sort of, because just for sake of time, I think probably the best thing is, mate, finish with some parting words. Maybe like, what is your aim to do? What your legacy is? Or, where would you like to take Real Recognises Real? Sort of finish that, and then also, where we can find you and best links and all that.
Yeah. Well, for Real Recognise Real, like, we don't really know where it's heading, to be honest. Okay. We just doing lives and we're just answering people's questions to the real as much as we can be. Like, it's just, we put a structure and we're just going to do it every Friday, and we jump on, people ask questions, and like, we're just sharing our own perspective on things. That's what I think it's about. It's like real. It's like, it's not script. It's just go on there. We're just having a chat. It's really like just us having a chat, and there's people listening to our chat. We get you involved in the chat, and it's just having a listen. And like, I don't know if we're trying to be educational. Like, for me, I'm just being me. Like, as if we're in the same room, we're just having a chat, and this is what I think, and we just go from there, really. But we want to, like, the messages that we get, it's actually crazy. Like, even for me to reach out to you and say, mate, like, everything that you provided for me has been amazing. It's like, that's now happening with the small things, because there's a lot of people out there that, like, for me, prior to this January, I was like that person where I just had no friends. And to be involved with someone and just have a relationship with someone, like, that can literally change your life. And I feel like that's what I'm able to do, just be that extra friend for someone.
So there's your drive, Jesse. There's your drive right there.
Yeah. I think that's like my real drive. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't like, it's like, if I get a question, I'm not just gonna, like, if you get a question, you're not just gonna, like, just ignore that question. Like, what I think of is, these people take time to, like, write a message or do a voice message. Like, they've taken time out of their day to dedicate that 1 minute to me. It's like, why wouldn't I give back that 1 minute? And I think, yeah, it's just being real with people. Like everyone has time.
like it.
But yeah, with my TikTok, I've got a TikTok account. It is Jessy Armani. So Armani is my son's middle name. So it's Jessy Armani Armani. And then on Instagram, it's Jessy K.ay. So it's JESSYK.ay.
Hey, Jessy. So one thing that I do is I'll tag you in, how I do my podcast. So when they see it on Apple or, Spotify, your little, Instagram tag will be straight up. Anyone that wants to access Jessy, got questions for him, especially when he's doing his real recognized reel, shoot him because he's more than happy to answer him. He's honestly that kind of guy that, will take time. If you want to hit him up with a voice message, you've heard it firsthand. He will hit you back with another voice message when he's got time because he is busy. I really have appreciated you, getting me back, to these podcasts because I've been a little bit, MIA with it lately with everything that's been going in my life, family, getting my business back to where it is today. And, massive shout out to everyone that has contributed to that. So humbled. The Vintage Wolf, it was crazy. I've just released another tee, the Retro Flamingo, which is, the pre-sales have gone a lot hotter than what I expected as well. So massive appreciation, everyone, with that. Dom, I'm going to hand it over to you in a sec, but massive appreciation to yourself. I really hope you've taken out of, what Jessy said about you and the way that, not just Jessy and myself and other people look at you, but the things that you're doing, the mindset you have, the connections you make, just everything, mate. It's been a true humbling experience. It's been awesome to be your apprentice with all this and to be a part of the I Am Me podcast, what you and Jax have created. Jax, if you're listening, everything that you've done, for all the listeners out there as well, not just Jessy and myself, it's just one big love. So Dommy, you take it away, finish up the show. Jessy, really appreciated having you on here and touch base with all you guys soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, it's been really good. I think Dan obviously only hit me up today about that you were going to be doing this. I wasn't aware at all. So the fact that Jessy, if you've played a role in be able to spark in the big fella to get back out of his shell, it's good. I know that when we first spoke, myself and Dan, it's almost 2 years, bit over 2 years ago now. I was like, man, you need to do a podcast. You need to talk. You've got something there. And I think it's just that's just the biggest thing that I've had in my life and the legacy that I want to leave is just to be able to, leave people better than how I found them and making that impact in some way. Because I will always go to my way to be able to find some potential in someone, even when they can't even see it themselves, and then just be able to foster that. It's not even like you're not forcing them in, but it's just like a little nudge. I think you should do this. Why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? It's little subtle hits that will just be able to do that. And then also by being on a conscious vibe or vibrational level that is just out there to impact and help others, then therefore it will just naturally, you'll attract those people in that want that. And also you will just help spark people here and there. And that's all I've ever wanted. So, the fact that you can get anything from me, awesome, fantastic. Drop a little seed, point you into a slightly different direction, because that's the thing. If you're going, this way and you just go 1 degree to the side, you're going to end up, by the time you get to the end of your journey, you're going to be in a completely different location than if you continue on that straight line. So, I really do commend the both of you. You guys are going to be doing some fucking fantastic things. And what I love about this is we all work in different fields and different niches, but yet we still have the one common purpose, legacy, and passion in where we want to be heading. And that's what I love. And with what's going on in the world at the moment, there's so much bullshit, chaos, scarcity, fear mongering, all this shit that's wanting us to keep away from each other, silence ourselves by wearing a fucking mask, hiding from each other, not going in, staying inside, social distancing, all this bullshit, when in reality what we need is human connection, people to be able to build relationships, grow with each other, love each other, because that is what it is to be a human being. And that's what's being stripped away from us. And that's why I'm really passionate about what it is that we do, whether it's Real Recognize Real, my podcast, your podcast, our brands that we, things that we stand by. That is what is how we want to be able to make a change in society today. So I love you all, but I'm going to finish the podcast on that one. So thanks very much, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.